All right now, that hearing just went into recess. Special Counsel Robert Hur being questioned by lawmakers on Capitol Hill. You'll remember Hur is responsible for that report on President Biden's handling of classified documents after he left the office of vice president. We just heard from James Comer. Those lawmakers taking a recess from the hearing because they have to vote, but they will reconvene after that vote is done. So let's get out to correspondent Joe Khalil, who was live for us on Capitol Hill. And Joe, we learned before the hearing, really just before the hearing, that Hur testifying today as a private citizen, not as an employee of the Justice Department.
Yeah, that was a really interesting development at the 11th hour, Nichole. I'm not sure how that has impacted or affected his testimony. I don't think it has now, having listened to the last 2.5 hours or so. He has been steadfastly defending his report and the conclusions that it made. He's been making the argument and sort of having to push back on Democrats' assertions here that including things about President Biden's memory lapses, about his mental state, calling him an elderly man who may appear to a jury to be empathetic, but just with a poor memory. He says he needed to include those things in this report because, in his view, that was showing his work. He says the conclusion he came to, not recommending any criminal charges for President Biden, really relied in part on the idea of how a jury would perceive the president. So he says that was important to include. If you thought that Democrats today were going to be the more aggressive questioners, which many did for this exact reason, they felt there was a political stint to his report, it was at least 50-50 because there were a lot of Republicans in that room also very frustrated with Robert Hur simply because there were no charges recommended for President Biden when there were charges for Donald Trump as it relates to these classified documents. Now, obviously, the cases are very different. Donald Trump clearly didn't cooperate to the level at all that Joe Biden did, handing these things back right away and allowing the FBI to come in and investigate his home. So you had that frustration on both sides. I want to play just one piece of this hearing, and it was from Adam Schiff, which I thought was an interesting exchange and really laid out sort of Democrats' frustration with how this report came together. Here's that exchange.
Mr. Hur, you cannot tell me you're so naive as to think your words would not have created a political firestorm. You understood that, didn't you, when you wrote those words, when you decided to include those words, when you decided to go beyond specific references to documents? You understood how they would be manipulated by my colleagues here on the GOP side of the aisle and by President Trump. You understood that, did you not?
Congressman, what I understood is the regulations that govern my conduct as special counsel.
Adam Schiff went on to say, you made a choice to put those elements into the report. You knew they would be weaponized politically. On the other side, there were quite a few Republicans hammering down this notion that the report doesn't exonerate President Biden. And there was an exchange where Congressman Darrell Issa, a Republican, said, you wouldn't say President Biden is totally innocent. And Hur says, correct, that conclusion is not reflected in my report. It was simply that he didn't feel like he could prove beyond the shadow of a doubt there was intent on the part of President Biden. So a lot there today. They're breaking now so that members can go vote. They may be back in just a little while. So
thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.